Alright, so I've had some people asking questions about my setup and how the build works, so I'm gonna go over my gear, my skill gems here, and just kind of show how everything works, and then at the end of the video I have a full map clear with the build where I go through this map and just show how it works. But the main gist of the build is you're gonna map using Fireball, using the standard Unleash, Scattershot, Wild Shards. And if you have a 4 link, you're gonna want to use Ambush here. If you have the extra spot, you can put LE Focus. That makes it feel just a little bit better. You want Fireball to be as high of a level as you can get it, without, killing yourself. Another question I've had a lot of people asking is how I sustain life while mapping, even though my Fireball costs 650 life per cast. That's like a third of my life pool. The first way is using these jewels. Let's see if I can find one. I've got 2 jewels with recover 2% of life on kill. While I'm mapping, you can see whenever you cast your Fireball and it kills a pack, your life will just start yo-yoing. It'll go down when you cast and then immediately just shoot back up. If you're doing pretty well and clearing pretty quick, the overflow that you get from Sanguimancy, picking up these life remnants, that takes me up to like 4,100 life. And so a lot of the times you don't even need the life recovery as long as you're doing enough damage to kill everything. It can get a little, you can see in the video I'll play at the end, it does get a little bit dicey sometimes. Which kind of brings me to another point. If you aren't stubborn like me, and you sacrifice a little bit of the damage on your tree, and you pick up these stun threshold nodes, you'd actually do a lot better in maps. But I'm being kind of stubborn right now, and I want to one-shot Zesht, so I'm pure damage and just enough of everything else to survive. Sorry, my dog's barking. But no, if you're playing this build like a normal person, just like drop this wheel right here or something and pick up these 4 nodes. It'll help you feel a lot tankier. You can also come up here and grab some of these energy shield nodes. Yeah, so that's the basis of mapping. The other way that I sustain in maps is you want to get an ultimate flask for life and mana, and for like 10x, 15x, you can get one with like 70% increased amount recovered and 60% charges gained, which makes them feel real. This flask restores like 2/3 of my mana pool. This one with quality restores almost my entire life pool every time I use it. And that helps a lot. So then you also want to run Grim Feast here. That'll help a lot too. Lets you overflow your... I'll explain the Cleric and the Soul Offering in a second. But that helps you keep your ES nice and full. You can see here I've got 7,000 after finishing the map. Aziri's Disdain is another really good way to stay tanky, because we're playing Blood Mage and we need to have life for our ascendancy. If you take Aziri's Disdain, that will make you a lot tankier overall. It kind of goes back to like the way Mind Over Matter works in PoE 1. If you can have damage going to 2 pools and both of those pools are regenerating, then it'll give you just a lot more tankiness, because you get to combine your regen from your flask and picking up the little remnants with the energy shield recharge. Goes a long way. Also, it gives us like half of all of our energy shield, which is really useful. You want to make sure you're taking life on everything you can. You can see I've got life on the ring. I've got a bunch of life on this robe, a bunch of life on the boots, on the gloves. You don't need ingenuity. This is not necessary for the build. I'm using it because I have one. If you look at the math, it's giving me like 5% damage or something. Whoops. Sorry. So this is my path of building, you could say. This is the theoretical damage, and this is the current character's damage. So if we come right here and we put in 15079,449 there, and then do that. So the damage from ingenuity is coming entirely from the rings and amulet, and that's giving me, here we can do the math, 73% on 63. So you say 0.63 times 0.73. It's giving 46% damage. So what's 109 minus 46? Equals 109 minus 46. 63. So if we change that to 63%, ingenuity is giving me 6% more damage. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a big deal when you're looking at 2 million DPS. You could probably actually get more life and resists if you didn't take ingenuity, which will ease up the pressure on your other slots. If I dropped ingenuity, I could probably get a bunch of resists on the belt and free up a slot on something else to take chaos res, because that's something that kind of this build struggles with. I would love to have a chaos res node somewhere to help cap out the chaos res, because we are not CI. It makes maps like Hidden Grotto with all the snakes a little bit sketchy sometimes. Alright, so that, I think that pretty much covers the mapping. If you're looking for gear on the build, I'm not going to go over how to do a weighted search on PoE trade, or maybe I will here. I can show that real quick. Bring this over here. If you're looking for gear, the best way to do that would be to do a weighted search. So to do that, you just come in here, add a stat group, do weighted sum. You can put these numbers right here into these columns, and then set your buyout price, whatever you're willing to pay for a wand. So say, you know, you've got 100x that you want to spend. Put that in there. Do the search. And then just click on this to sort by that. And then just, that'll tell you what the best thing you can put in your build is. Yeah. Weighted searches are good. Alright. Same thing with your focus. Do the same thing for your focus. Amulet, you want plus all spell skill levels. And if you can afford it, get spell damage. And getting like 40% crit chance here, 30, 40% will help a lot, because we are in the post that I was getting interest in the build in. I was using ambush on Flameblast, but since then I've actually swapped. I've stopped using ambush, and instead I'm using Eye of Winter to apply critical weakness, which means you need about 30% crit chance on your gear to get crit capped versus a boss. We're still using ambush in the fireball, because you don't want to have to throw fire or Eye of Winter around while mapping. That would just get tedious. So get around 30% crit chance on your amulet if you can. And then +3 level of all spell skills. Getting those with life is very expensive though. So you probably won't be able to get much life. I got a little bit of strength here, which strength is also life, so that was pretty lucky. I think I paid a divine for this. Overall, the build's still sitting at about 8 divines. Not counting the ingenuity, like I said, get like a 30-40 exalt belt with life and resists. They're very cheap. So call it 8.5 divines, which is pretty good for 2 million DPS. I guess 1 million. 1.5 million if you don't count the 6-link Flameblast. So 10 divines, you're sitting at like 2 million DPS. It's not bad. All these people running around with Archmage Spark that have 2 million DPS probably have a lot more than 10 divines in their character. Alright, so yeah, that covers mapping. So for single target, for map bosses, at the end of this video, I show the full swap on everything, just to showcase what the build can do. But for map bosses, you really don't have to do it. Just swap Conch Effect into Flameblast and drop your Sigil, Solar Orb, Eye of Winter, and kill him. But if you're going up like what I'm wanting to do with a Zesht, you can swap out Grim Feast, put in Soul Offering with Persistence, and the rotation is go in while the boss is doing their RP crap, just drop your Sigil, Flammability a couple times to charge it up here. You want to make sure you've got your clerics. Use your Soul Offering on one of the clerics, Solar Orb, Eye of Winter, Mana Tempest, and then cast your Flameblast. If you do all of that right, then that's how you get this 4 million DPS. I'm only level 86 right now. I'm missing a node there, and I'm missing a jewel over here. So in the video I also, whoops, where'd it go? Yeah. In the video I also screw up the rotation. I don't have the Soul Offering up, and I forget to put down Mana Tempest, which I should say, Mana Tempest, you want to put Premeditation. That's in the build guide. I'll post a link in the description for the build guide. But Soul Offering is a 40% more damage, so not having that and not having Premeditation, our Mana Tempest is actually doing kind of triple duty here. It counts as a lightning spell for Rising Tempest for an extra 12% more damage there. It has Premeditation. This is the only way I've found to put Premeditation in the build. But that's another 15% more damage. And it gives 80% damage as lightning damage, which should shock the boss for 20% more damage again. I don't actually have that in the calculations because I don't know how that interacts with ignite, and the shock falls off way before the ignite falls off. But it's a little, you know, it's a little bit. So, yeah, you just want to... I'll do it again here. Sigil of Power. Charge it up with some flammabilities. Eye of Winter to give critical weakness. Solar Orb. Do the offering before all of that. And then Flameblast. I also forgot, you want to take Unleash and put it in Eye of Winter. That'll help stack up the critical weakness better. So, Sigil of Power, Eye of Winter, Soul Offering, Solar Orb, Arcane Tempest, Flameblast. I think that's all I've got for y'all. On your Skeletal Cleric, I don't know if this is really necessary. I put Last Gasp just in case a boss, you know, tries and kills them. They don't have any life at all. So that's just there to make it a little bit more consistent to get the Soul Offering off. Okay, Solar Orb. We've got Fire Exposure and Strip Away. That gives... That's where our exposure comes from. For quality flammability, that gives a fair bit more damage. It's the difference between, like, I think it's like 68% and, whoops, it's like 68 and 72%, which gives a little bit more DPS. Exposure from Solar Orb. Trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. Put Inspiration on flammability, because it costs, a lot of people have noticed, curses cost a lot of mana. Alright, one thing I forgot to go over here. I'm just going to stick this in somewhere before the end, I guess. Is the tree. You could go up through the left side here, get a little bit more damage, but I figure going up the right makes the build feel a little bit less squishy. Let's see. You're going to take all these ignite things that are easy to get. This is a really valuable node up here for ES. This node and these over here are all of our ES. The main thing to note is for your weapon swap, for weapon set 1, you want to put all these damage nodes, all these ignite nodes on weapon swap 1. And you can also do this wheel right here, because that's just purely damage. You don't want to do these 2 crit wheels, because you would actually lose a little bit of survivability if you put those on your weapon swap anytime that you're on your staff. And then on your offhand weapon set, I've just got a +6 fire spell skills staff, which gets flammability to a breakpoint. I don't know if you need 5 or 6 to hit the breakpoint, but the other thing that you want is you want as much cast speed as you can on this, just to make your curse go as quickly as you can. If you get intelligence on your main hand through the wand or the focus, make sure you get around the same amount of intelligence on this, because then you can put more strength nodes on the tree, which gives you more life, which is, you know, we're a blood mage, life is good. But anyway, on the weapon swap for the passive tree, you want to take all of these curse nodes. If you take all of these, that gives you like what, 36, 46, 46, 55% increased curse effect, which is huge. That's a lot of extra resistances you're stripping. And it gives you something like triple duration on your curse. My curse lasts like 30 or 40 seconds. Especially you want to take on your weapon swap, you want to take all these skill duration nodes, because not only do those affect your curse, we put our solar orb on the weapon swap. So it affects your solar orb. It gets, what is this, 10, 20, 30, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85% duration. So your solar orb gets 85% increased duration. Your Mana Tempest, well, actually Mana Tempest doesn't scale off duration. Your Soul Offering, though, gets 85% increased duration, which this is really, really convenient. Like, you want this to last as long as you can. It only lasts 4 seconds by default, and the full rotation is pretty long, so it's nice to have that extra duration on that. And then the other thing it affects is it actually affects Sigil of Power, too. So our Sigil of Power lasts 21.5 seconds instead of 11.6. Which, because we have to invest our life into charging this, so the longer this lasts, the better. Anyway, back to whatever I was saying when I inject this into the video. I'll try and put up a video maybe tomorrow of a Zesht kill. I'm hoping with a few more levels and a level 20 Flameblast, I think I can one-shot him. That's what we've got, right? This is what the estimated damage is at right here. On average, with the level 20 gem, that's what, 31.5 million damage. Zesht has 32 million. So if we get slightly above an average hit, that ought to one-shot him. Alright. I'm gonna play the map clear clip. Thanks.
More mana. Your swamp fiends won't help me.